Shea Pepler here with a Sporting News exclusive 2012 college football preview. And in this edition, we're taking a look at the Big 12. Here are some storylines heading into the season. After going 8-1 in conference last year, Oklahoma State enters this season as reigning conference champs. The Big 12 welcomes two new programs into the conference this season, with West Virginia and TCU as part of conference realignment. And one new head coach will be on the sidelines as Charlie Weis returns as head coach at Kansas. Now we welcome Sporting News college football writers Steve Greenberg and Matt Hayes. Gentlemen, looking at the Big 12, what are your most intriguing storylines?
Sure, there's a lot of newness in the league, like a lot of the stuff you just mentioned. I'm going back to the old guard. I'm going back to Texas. I really believe that Texas is going to play very well this year offensively. Second year under Brian Harsin, the offensive line's playing better. I think David Ash is starting to understand what Brian Harsin wants as a quarterback. She showed it a little bit in the Holiday Bowl when they beat Cal, and I think he played very smart and very within the offense. And I really think the Texas defensively, one of the top 5, 6, 7 teams in the country. And I think offensively, the more confidence that David Ash builds, I think the better that team's going to be.
All true. I think what makes the Big 12 unique, and especially fun, is that Texas has slipped. Oklahoma has probably slipped a tick, maybe a tick or two, by not getting back to BCS championship games, not winning huge games in the postseason, not just completely dominating that league. So you have a bunch of programs that have a shot. K-State, rising up. West Virginia, I think with Geno Smith and that offense, has a shot. If Oklahoma State can win the Big 12 in a given year, then there are several programs, TCU, one of them, that you can't overlook. I love that Kansas State, comes back this year after an improbable 10 wins, and we're taking the Wildcats seriously as a top 10 team. That's because they're good. It's also because Oklahoma and Texas aren't what they used to be.
Yeah, I mean, I really love Colin Klein, Kansas State quarterback, and you and I have talked about this a lot. I think a guy that just really gets no credit. I mean, he's got the funky throw motion, a little bit like Danny Werfel from years past, but the guy just gets it done. I mean, he runs hard in that run option offense. I think he throws the ball where it needs to be thrown. Look at his production last year, just unbelievable. I like that. I can't wait to see Geno Smith in the Big 12. I can't wait to see Dana Holgorsen's offense throwing around in the Big 12 again, like he did at Oklahoma State when he was offensive coordinator there.
And guys, I know you mentioned Geno Smith and Colin Klein already, but when it comes to succeeding on the field, who in your mind are other key players in the Big 12 this season?
Well, before we leave K-State, Shea, we've got to talk about maybe getting to know a name or two on defense in that program. They gave up 58 and 52 to the two Oklahoma teams. They were clearly against Arkansas rather, in the bowl game, just outclassed athletically. So we need to see more than just offense and more than just Colin Klein out of them. But a couple other guys. Wes Lunt. How about Wes Lunt? Enrolls early at Oklahoma State.
Good luck, kid.
True freshman, replacing Brandon Whedon, who was, I think, 55 or so years old. Here's Wes Lunt. He's not a real big guy. He's not really filled out yet. He's going to be starting in that league, trying to lead a team back from an 11-win season. That's unbelievable to me, or 12 wins. And Dane Chris, right? And Charlie Weis at Kansas. I mean, what kind of first season will that be? Is KU a doormat, Matt, or is KU something better? Is Chris, for that matter, an NFL quarterback? Or is he just the guy who got yanked at Notre Dame because Brian Kelly decided in the opener, you're not good enough?
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see Kansas. I think when you look at Dane Chris, I've had multiple NFL scouts tell me that he is the real deal. If he can keep his knees healthy, if he can show that he can stay healthy throughout his season, he's got as good a better arm as any quarterback seen in the last 5 or 6 years. So it's going to be fun to watch him play. I want to go back to one thing you said about Kansas State and their defense. Oklahoma State's defense last year was putrid, just absolutely awful. And they were basically 2 or 3 plays away in that Iowa State game of playing for it all. And you want to star on the Kansas State defense? How about Arthur Brown, the linebacker who's best known because he's Bryce Brown's brother. Bryce Brown, maybe the biggest flop, consensus #1 recruit in the last 10, 15 years. Arthur Brown has become an elite player. He's got potential All-American, and I think he's a guy that can at least give that defense a little moxie, enough to where they can probably have an Oklahoma State type defense type year.
Turnovers.
Turnovers.
The Cowboys were good at creating turnovers.
Very good.
That's all they were good at defensively, but they were great at it.
All right, thanks guys. That'll do it for this Sporting News exclusive college football preview on the Big 12. For Steve Greenberg and Matt Hayes, I'm Shea Pepler.